Roi Kariok.
That's me, I guess.
That's you. It's very strange to do an interview in English since we both are Hebrew speakers, but
Right.
since most of Marbin people don't speak much Hebrew, it's gonna have to be this way. I have a question for you. Do you remember how we met? There's no way you remember how we met.
No, so I remember we met at Berklee, but I think you were there with your dad or something.
I was. It was my first day of Berklee. We were in the proficiency edition thing. We were both sitting in the lobby, and Brian Baker was doing his proficiency edition. You were wearing like a yarmulke looking thing, and you were playing Scrapple from the Apple. I remember that.
Really? Oh
Yeah,
my.
you were playing Bebop, and we were both like sitting there looking through the window at like Brian Baker shredding.
Right.
Uh, like
Which
that was
will happen exactly the same today, and we will be like looking through the window at him shredding. But huh?
right. It's a very strong memory in my mind. Well,
It,
you
go ahead. Go ahead.
no you.
I'm saying it's weird because I remember. I mean, I remember like meeting you and your dad was there with you and then like starting to talk and then like, oh, you're Israeli, blah blah blah, talking in Hebrew and all that. But like the whole Berkeley thing for me is kind of vague. Like it's been so many years
I know. It seems like
that
a strange dream.
right. I mean, it's been more than 10 years. I mean, I graduated in '05, I want to say.
Yeah, something like
That
that.
yeah.
You. It's weird. You look younger now than you did
Oh
then.
my, come on, give me some. Come on. Yes, more please. Now uh, I'm getting older slowly, but I feel like I'm still 15.
well, we need to talk career because you went a really different kind of you went the LA route, and I really didn't have anybody on this to talk about this kind of life. So, what did your career look like starting out? Like you finished Berkeley. What was the first step after
Well,
then?
when I got all I cared about was playing jazz and playing Pat Metheny and like all I cared about was Pat Metheny. Basically. And slowly through the years at Berkeley, I kind of figured out and realized that I'm too spoiled to live as a jazz musician. And I'm not gonna live in New York, driving the subway with my cars when it's snowing, and I mean, it's just as much as I love music, I want to enjoy life, and it's not really for me. Um, sadly, but and then at one of the, I don't remember which year it was, but I had a friend in LA, Tony Braxton, who's a guitar player, started from back home from Israel, and he was playing back then with Kelly Clarkson,
Mm.
and Kelly just won the American Idol and blah blah blah, and he was super famous. That was like big like minute in her career, and it was Passover, and suddenly I get a phone call or whatever it was from Dani, and he's like, hey, I'm playing with Kelly, and I have no place to Seder for Passover. So we ended up, inviting him, blah blah blah, and then the next day I went to see the show, and it was my first time like being in an arena on the
Mm.
other side of the stage, like going backstage and seeing like the tour bus and seeing all the guitars and the amps and all that, and I'm like, wait, when I started to play, I wanted to be slapped, paid, and then somehow I got into this whole like business shit. and and it was kind of like, oh shit, this is why I started to play, and then I'm never gonna forget it. Like I was on second or third row, and there was a guitar solo, and Dani like stepping in the front of the stage. He had a huge flag of Israel like speaker on his guitar, and he's playing a solo, and everybody's screaming, and I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm not
that I
playing
want that.
jazz. Right. I'm not playing jazz anymore. I'm moving to LA and I'm gonna be a rock star and like I'm gonna live my dream.
Sure.
Um,
So you get to LA. What happened?
I got to LA. I was lucky to have some friends here already.
And
Friends.
this is what, like 2008, 9?
No. That's like 2000 and end of 2005, I want to
Oh,
say.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the second I graduated, I kind of moved out because I'm not dealing well with winter.
Mm,
I, I don't really know what to do with the winter. So if
sure.
I don't have to be in Boston, I mean, although I love Boston and it's beautiful and, but like if I don't have to do the winter, I'm not.
Yeah.
Um, so I moved to LA and I had luck having a couple of friends here. Childhood friends, Rosalind Sirota, who's an amazing pianist, and Davey Nathan, who's another amazing pianist, and then couple of drummer, Aris Ginat and Dani as well, and a bunch of people that were already like playing and working in the industry.
Hmm.
Um, and then I started to gig with American Jewish band that basically Dani referred me to Normal Shab,
Hmm.
um, who are they're amazing musicians, great people. It was really this was kind of like my first tour in the States. Um, we would fly, go play shows everywhere. It was really fun. And then one of the times I got back and I did my first audition, and it was all I knew. It's like it's a Polish artist. Some singer came from Poland looking for an American band, and me as an Israeli, I fit the bill. American.
Nice.
So I got the gig, and then I realized that they're moving us to Warsaw, Poland.
Ah. So wait a
So
second. What's an audition look like in this kind of scene? You show up, you do what?
Well, you basically it depends, but you basically get an MP3 like email with a bunch of tracks,
Hmm.
and if you're lucky and they give you like more details, then they say, oh, like we want you to learn this, you're gonna play acoustic or you're gonna play electric or whatever, um, and then you to learn the music, and or at least I thought it like the music and like the today I know that there's a lot,
Yeah.
um, and like my later auditions, although I was kind of lucky to not have too many auditions and kind of like just being referred to gigs, but I've learned that it's more about there's more to an audition than just you
Yeah.
know through the years.
There's a human element too.
I mean, there's a human element, and then there's also like, you got to research. I mean, it's show business, especially here in LA. It's not only about the music, so you better research the artist. Look at some live shows. Look how the band looks like. Look what is the image they're looking for. Like I mean, for me, I have for some gigs, that's not what they're looking for. Not
Yeah.
look, so I'll come to the audition with long sleeves, for example, or the other way around. If I know they're looking for that look, I'll come with a sleeveless. Figure out what's like the sounds are, like
Hmm.
it's not about the parts. There's so many good musicians here in LA. I mean,
Yeah.
it's scary, and so many of them are so much better than me. But it's more about, you know, figure out the sounds, figure out like which guitars you actually gonna use. Are you gonna use a Les Paul? Are you gonna use a Strat, a Kelly, whatever it is?
So it's like
Um,
a come so prepared that you're just kind of like bow, just
right,
not.
right.
They don't have
There's
to worry about anything about
exactly,
you.
exactly.
You
I
just
mean,
bring in the whole package.
yeah, because you know that the situation is gonna be stressful no matter what. I mean, you are in the room. If you know the artist, like if it's a famous artist, then you have this like celebrity who's sitting there and like watching you, and you have all the rest of the musicians who are there, and everybody's like watching you is like, oh, who's that guy? So you kind of try to eliminate anything that that can give you an extra stress, you know.
Hmm.
So for me, it's always like I'll YouTube, I'll research, I'll look at pictures, I'll understand, I'll try to get more than just the so no matter what happens, they throw it on me and I'll be fine.
Hmm.
And it also has the like social dynamic kind of aspect that like we're all human. Yeah, they're a celebrity, they're more known, there's this, that, doesn't matter. You talk to anybody normal, like normal person, they're stressed as
Sure.
well. You're gonna make them feel good, which is basically what's told.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I got to that audition, I got that gig, did a couple shorts here in LA, and basically moved to Poland.
Mm. For how
Or,
long?
I mean, on and off, I want to say it was about a year, a little
Mm.
bit more than a year, but the first leg was like a month. You know, we got to Poland and kind of like starting to figure out everything and rehearsals and couple of shows and that, and then we flew back and forth a lot. Um, and then after I want to say about a year or so, I get a phone call from a friend of mine in LA who says, and he's another childhood friend, an amazing guitar player named Dory Lobel. And we grew up together. We used to sit in my mom's house like practicing, Steve Vai tunes. Uh, but and he calls me and he say, "Hey, what are you doing next week?" And I'm like, I'm supposed to be in London playing with Natalia, with that artist. And he's like, "Okay, do you wanna come and do the backstreet?" And and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, I mean, I can't do the next tour. Can you come and do it? And so basically, that was my first step, moving back into LA,
Hmm.
getting it through my years. I'm always coming as the sub. So it was kind of the same with Tony Braxton, who I played with the last 5.5 years. Uh,
Hmm.
my friend who was the musical director gives me a call and he's like, "Hey, like I know it's not really your style of music, but where I'm stuck without a guitar player. Like the sub that is usually doing it can't do it. What are you
Hmm.
doing this weekend?" And I'm like, "I don't know." He's like, "Okay, we have a like Tony Braxton and Babyface show, and I think it was Atlantic City." And I was like, "Listen, like I'm a white Jewish boy. Like I don't know how to play like gospel and all that stuff." And he went ahead and sent me Pro Tools sessions, and I just transcribed and learned note by note all the show.
Mm.
He helped me a little bit with that, and then head off to Atlantic City, did the first show, did the second show, and somehow ended up staying there for another 5 years.
Wow.
Um, but
Man.
I mean, and then that's where I'm at today. I mean, today I tour less because, as we said at the beginning, getting a little bit older, and I realized that I like being at home more, and staying in town and not travel as much.
What's your craziest tour moment? What's your craziest road?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot through the years.
Well, give me one. Give me a good one.
I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, there's my guitar is not getting to the destination 2 hours before the show, and I still have no guitars, no pedal board, no amps, nothing. In Singapore, that was in for some reason I left I think home or something.
Mm.
that was also the only time in my life I checked my guitar because I never touched it before.
Mm.
I mean, I if I travel with two, then I'll check one, but I always take this one
Yeah.
with. And there was a moment that they said, "Hey, we're not letting you up with this guitar," and I'm like, "Okay, so I'm not going up." And then I realized that my Israeli attitude is not going to help here
No.
because they're tougher than me, and they're
No
like, "Oh,
means no sometimes. Yeah.
right." They're like, "Okay, then you're just staying in LA. I mean, you're and your guitar." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so here you go, take my guitar."
Touche.
Right. I mean, and then we just landed there, and they were like really assuring me that you'll get there and somebody's gonna hand you the guitar and this and that. And we land there, and then I realized that like nobody knows where my guitar is.
Mm. Gone.
Yeah, it's like it's gone. We don't know. It's not in the plane. And I started, to stress up and freak out. And suddenly you see that if you raise your voice in Singapore, it's really easy to get like a bunch of police officers surrounding you in about a minute,
Oh wow.
screaming back at you in a language that you don't speak. You know.
No good.
Um, but so we did the show with the rented rental. Everything was
Mm.
rented. My guitar did not show up. They basically sent everything back to LA, and they did the whole show with the rental gear, no pedals,
That must
no,
have been fun. Just like straight into a twin.
yeah,
Ah.
basically that. I went and I bought a delay pedal, and I used the amp for everything, and that was
Trooper.
right. I
True.
mean, just you got to work with whatever you have.
That's the thing.
Right, but you learn from all of that,
Yeah.
so.
What would you say the musical like? Let's say I'm a 18-year-old kid watching this, and I want to move to LA, start playing with artists, start having a career. What are the musical kind of skills that like really, in your estimation, make people get the gig?
The musical ones. Well, first of all, for me, it was also always being able to play everything. Like you want me to play bebop, I'll play bebop. You want me to play fusion and modern jazz, I'll play that.
Hmm.
You want me to play metal, I'll play metal. Like you just know it. Me as like when I was younger, I just liked everything.
Hmm.
Everything has to do with playing the guitar. So there's nothing that I can't, yes, I'm not amazing at all of those stuff, but I can fake all of it.
Yeah.
So like I'll fake my way through all styles basically. I know enough to be safe. If suddenly the artist
Yeah.
want to do like a passage of this or a passage of that. Um the
So you
other
can
thing,
draw from a lot of
right.
things. Yeah.
And that's another thing that gives you like, like your language suddenly like you add all those like tastes into the dish that most people don't, and for us being like, Israelis, so we have all the Middle Eastern stuff and all that kind of flavor that people don't know much, So it's just being as versatile and, as you can. And I think that learning how to not play is the most important.
I don't
Like,
know anything about that.
I
At
mean,
all.
I mean, not play, like not touch the instrument. If you have nothing good to say, just shut up, and
Yeah.
it's
How do you
it.
do that?
Here you go. You take your hands up. You're just like not touching the guitar. I want to play the guitar now. It's right here, but I'm not doing it. Um,
Man,
you
that's
know,
some that's some next level shit. That's some
because,
discipline.
right? I mean, you'll sit in rehearsals and like people are talking, and then there's always this guy who got to play. And I'm like, no, we're here for like 10-hour rehearsal. Don't
Right.
play, you know. So that's one thing. And then also like during the show, during the track, during rehearsal, whatever you do, like sometimes not playing or like for me, it's always like if I talk to you, we're having a conversation. I'm gonna talk straight for 40 minutes. Like I'm gonna quote, I'm gonna
Sure.
read. So it's not different, like it's really the same. So and I kind of find and that in today it's gonna make me sound really old, but like in today's world when there's YouTube and everything is so open, people know less how to play with each other and listen, and because they spend most of the days like recording themselves on Instagram or
Sure.
YouTube, whatever, playing by themselves and put it online. And what it creates amazing musicians. I mean, there's so many young guitar players that I look at it and I'm like, what? How?
Yeah.
Like, is but then you put them in the room with a band and they never played with somebody or they did
Right.
stuff and and
We
on the
we call those people pajamas.
here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, that's it, they become amazing at playing with themselves.
yeah.
That's the skill they're working on. So yeah, to
But,
play with
but
people, you got to play with people.
true. And it's amazing because like when I grew up, like when we were young, we just played together every
Hmm.
night. We
Yeah.
liked to play with people. Yes, we practiced a lot at home, but the main goal was to have like, a group to play with other people.
When you're in like these like high production kind of situations, is it all in ears and like are you playing with tracks a lot or is it usually
It was all, I mean, for me, it was always in ear. Yeah. Um,
and tracks like were there things
and
going on
tracks
with them? Hmm.
and tracks
How is
and
it getting used to that coming from the jazz world? I mean, that must be a very different kind of world altogether.
well, the beginning was kind of hard. First of all, to like you put the in-ears in and you feel like you're in a bubble.
Right.
But then there's a lot of the times there's like mics into the crowd that they open in your ears a little bit, just so you
Ah.
feel, yeah, just so you feel that you're like actually not playing alone at home for Instagram. Uh,
Yeah.
but you get used to it. It's also the fact that you don't feel the amp as much because you have in-ears and the stage is usually clear, so the amps are backstage. So that was a thing that for me was hard with. Like, it's not as much the in-ears, but more for the fact that I don't feel the amp.
Yeah,
You know?
just no air behind you.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't feel the vibration. I hear
Huh.
it, it's here, but I don't feel it. And like, I saw like Malmsteen coming to Berklee with 20 like Marshalls. I want to
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
You Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't know. I mean, I stand like in front of a 412 like every night, so
yeah,
it's like standing in front of like a lion.
yeah.
It's roaring. Yeah. I
So
mean, I never played a gig like that. That must be
yeah, you don't.
so odd.
It's weird. So I mean, there are stuff that they put on the stage that's gonna like vibrate and stuff like that, but not every production has it. Some does,
Hmm.
some does. Um, and then with the tracks, I mean, we grew up practicing with click a lot,
Sure.
so it's kind of like you have click in your ears. You have a slate track, which is basically somebody counting you into different parts, or if there's tempo changes or stuff like that. Um, you get used to it. I mean, we do a lot of rehearsals most of the time. So,
Yeah. Are there any situations where there's no tracks that you're in?
I mean, there are not in those kind of gigs, because there's usually like so many extra things, extra layers
Connected to the light show,
of
connected to
exactly
the
keyboard
choreography.
and percussion, and then it's got to be in sync with the lights and the videos, and so anyway, everything got to be in sync because otherwise you're not going to be in sync with the video.
So
So
crazy.
you
What's
got
it
to
feel like to stand and to like take those steps forward, play a guitar solo with no amp on stage? Like how, like I don't know.
at the
Is that?
beginning feels weird. it feels like playing direct, which is, like we're playing through, I don't know, a Kemper, which gonna
Hmm.
make me sound, old again. But um, no, it feels weird at the beginning, but then I mean you get used to it, and you
Yeah.
kind of dial your tone for that. You learn how to kind of play with your tone, make sure that this is how you're gonna come out, and this is what you know.
And let's talk about that for a second. So, what are some, like, you have tons of experience doing these kind of gigs. What are some tone tips that, like, you wouldn't necessarily do in a rock kind of setting that you would definitely want to be, on top of for a pop gig?
Well, for me, first of all, less gain on the distortion sound, on the drive sounds is always better. It makes everything sound wider and bigger.
Hmm.
So, and I'll put some, like I'll make my sound dirty, but just as much as I need it and not overdo it. Although
Hmm.
it's fun to have a lot of gain, but it's kind of, not for those kind of gigs. It's kind of defeat the purpose.
Sure.
Um,
So, yeah, there's like the awesome compressed, smooth feeling that it gives you, but you
right,
got to kind of push that away to kind of
right.
just sit in the right place in the mix and not be too squashed.
Right. And then also, I mean, I through the years I moved to play in stereo most of the gigs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I like, I mean, and again, I don't know how it sounds outside. I assume it sounds awesome because I've never got any complaints, but I mean, in my ears, it sounds amazing and I like it. So, and
Hmm.
that's kind of like, so I always do my reverbs and delays in stereo.
Stereo. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's kind of make everything sounds a little bit wider. Um, it's mostly about like what the gig needs and
Hmm.
so like from one gig to another, my whole gear is gonna change. It's never the same. The only thing
Mm.
that is the same is the amp, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, and in terms of like, and you have like a switching system, I'd assume, because you have to. There's
yeah,
too much, like you have to get from sound to sound very quickly.
yeah. I
And
use a G Lab GSC, I want to say 4 or something like
okay,
that.
did you
Uh,
check out did you check out the G2, the
I
gig
don't-
rig?
I mean, not. I checked out like one of the older versions. It was years ago, really years
Dude,
ago, and
I
I think,
had Daniel, the guy that designed it, on this thing you're on right now,
uh-huh.
and I'll send you his email. That shit will blow your mind.
So I had one of the like early versions, but it was so expensive and I couldn't afford it back then.
Yeah,
You know, so I looked for alternatives, but I saw some video about like their latest one that
it's
is
un
it's amazing. Yeah.
It's unbelievable, dude. They knocked it out of the park. There's
And
like delay trails going from patch to patch. It's like you press a button, it puts everything at unity gain, like
that
all your
yeah.
pet. It's just
So
they thought of everything. Yeah.
and that's amazing. It's just that I mean it's I don't think I saw one like actually live, it's just on YouTube or stuff like that. The older version I had it here for I want to say a month or two, like years
Mm.
ago.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, the G1 was like bigger and kind of messy, but like the G2 is just unbelievable. I'll send you Daniel's email. He'll
yeah, I'd
he'll
love to.
definitely, yeah,
But
he'll definitely, yeah.
so I've been using that G Lab for years, and that
Hmm.
basically controls everything. I use like my timelines and my Strymons through MIDI, and then
Hmm. And
every
that's all the switching for you.
right, and then everything else going through the G Lab, all the different like overdrives and different stuff.
What
Uh,
are like must-have sounds for pop for guitarists? Like if you had to like go bare bones and you're in a new like kind of you're in a gig, you're not sure what the music's gonna be, but like you're gonna be okay if you have what?
I'll have probably like two drives.
Hmm.
One One is gonna be super, super mellow, like very minimum gain. and then after it, like a more dirtier drive, and then
Hmm.
if I really need more drive, I'll put both of them together. So the mellow one drives the next one as well.
Sure.
Um, for me, and because of the G-Lab, I can do it. I always have my delay on, different types of delay, but the delay is always on, and I have an expression pedal on
Hmm.
that. It's basically just a mix of the delay.
Hmm.
So, I play with that if I want to add more or less. So, and I love delays and all that, like textures kind of, you know. So that's going to be another one for me. And I mean, honestly, if I have that, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
if I have
So
two,
modulation effects are more like seasoning on it.
yeah, I mean, I'll have like maybe like a slightly chorus on like open big sound kind of like, but it's not a must. I mean,
Right.
it really depends on the gig, and I think we can get away with like two drives and a good delay pedal,
Yep.
with and a good amp. For
Yeah.
me,
That's the
you
key
know,
really.
yeah, for me it's all about like I found my amp and I've been using the same.
Which is your amp?
Divided by 13.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
those are great.
yeah, and FTR 37. I've been using the same amp for I don't know, like 13 years. Yeah,
Yeah. Divided by 13. That's a good
yeah,
number.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's
so yeah,
so I know you're pressed for time, but there's one last thing I want to get to, which is, you know, I get a lot of people. They like, they ask me. I like, first of all, I don't know anything about like, the pop world, the session world. Like we've always been like doing one thing, and we've never like done anything else even slightly. But people keep asking me about playing sessions and in LA, and to me it seems like that world really kind of is shrinking. But I think you're involved with that at some capacity. So how has that business work these last few years?
well,
Like getting called for recording sessions.
right. I think that it's changing a lot. So I don't know if it's shrinking, but it's changing. It is like going from the big studios that we used to see in the movies that you come in with all your gear and all of that and kind of like sitting in the studio with everybody to more of like home studios that I mean people just send you the track, you record whatever, and you send it back. um,
Hmm.
I think that this is most of I mean, sadly, again, because there's no like playing together,
So you say a majority of the tracking you do is just at home and send files?
for me, yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. Which I mean has its benefits because I really have like my setup dialed in, and I have like 10 different amps and 40 guitars and like all the pedals in the world, and I can really you know touch and find the real tone that this song or this track is needed.
Right.
When to bring all of that to the studio, I mean, other than me being super lazy and not like to carry everything, it's a pain,
Yeah.
and usually, I mean, yes, you're gonna bring three, four, five guitars, and then you're like, oh shit, but I have that, like, that
That
specific,
Gretsch. Right.
right, I have that at home, and that would sound so killing on this track. So I find that this kind of eliminates all those problems. The only thing is that you will hear a lot of people that their home setup is not great,
Right.
and the sound that comes out is not as. But that's a whole different. It really depends on also the style of what you're playing. And today, I mean, I'm doing so much of like electronic DJ stuff, and lately, that the guitar has such a small part in the production. I mean, it's not like a straightforward rock that you need that.
Right.
So I find that you can get off with a lot, but
Hmm.
I feel that for me and my luck is that I'm really like I'm a sound freak. I enjoy like that search as much as I enjoy playing. So for me, sit at home and find the right sound for the
Right,
track.
it just pops out and like
Right.
boom.
So you know, I don't know if this like the session world is shrinking, but it's for sure changing. It's
Right.
moving to the small studios. If you're at home, it obviously saves a lot of money to the producer that doesn't need to rent a studio, rent a technician, rent this. He can either come over to your studio, do it, whatever, and move on, or he sends you the track, you do it at home while he's recording the drummer, like
Right.
or something like
That's
that.
crazy. Yeah, you're at home, you lay down the track, you get your Venmo, you move on to the next
Yeah,
track. It's like
right.
that's what the world is now. Well, yeah, I mean it's really funny because people's fantasy of the music world hasn't really caught on, adapted to where the world is.
That's true. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think like if because there's not a lot of like movies or stuff about the session world,
Well, I
like,
mean it would be a strange movie.
right. I mean, but like we grew up looking at all those like big studios and and having that dream like of,
Yeah, I think they have like a mountain of blow. They're all just like, like
right,
maybe we need to make a movie where it's like 20 studios and like everybody's like on a Skype chat and they have their little pile of blow.
right, which is probably how it's gonna look and what's gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, I think that especially in today's world, you kind of got to do everything,
Yeah,
So you do the home studio kind of sessions, you do the big sessions if you're lucky, you tour, I mean, which again, like being a session player and touring musician is a totally different thing that really requires different skill. Um,
sure.
so, but if you're lucky and you can break your way into both, it's kind of then you're one of the lucky ones.
Yeah,
For me, like, after so many years of touring, I'm kind of happy to move more into the session world. Um, I do still like play live shows, but it's kind of, once in a while and one-offs. Like I'm
sure.
kind of done with going on a 6 month tour, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Well, dude, I really appreciate you doing this, and it's like so. I think it's really mind opening for a lot of people who want to follow in your footsteps, and it's good to have somebody who's like honest and willing to share about the career path.
Hey man,
So
thank you for having me. It's amazing, and like we haven't spoken so long, and when you
yeah.
was like, fuck, that's gonna be fun. Like I'll do it. So yeah, I'm always into doing that kind of stuff, and if I can inspire anybody, hey, I'm all up for it. You
That's
know,
awesome. Well, thank you for all you do and all you share, man. Oi, Kariok. Thank you.
man. Thank you.
See you around.
Yep.